Well, folks, it's the 4th of February, the fourth day of the Cheese a Day Challenge, and having tasted a delicious British brie yesterday with Johnny Crickmore, we're going to be joined today by another farming friend of mine who, whilst he isn't a dairy farmer, is a big cheese in the world of British farming. The big cheese I'm referring to is Ben Eagle. Ben, welcome. It's so exciting to have you along here. I should say that the full extent of your credibility is not your farming nous and all the dozens of other things you do, but the fact that actually 2 years ago, you and I ran the Cheese a Day Challenge, and we actually had the very, very first paired tasting in that. We met up kind of halfway in between, didn't we? And we tasted...
We did. It was a Newmarket from memory.
Yeah, I can't remember the cheese. It was. We tasted a Barkswell.
It was. Well done. Well remembered.
Now, without giving you too many tips straight away, I think we're going to be tasting another sheep's milk cheese. Gosh, is Barkswell sheep's milk? It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Today, so that's something just to wet your whistle, and for those of you watching along, who are tasting blind, which is always an exciting concept. That's a little tip. But Ben, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into number four?
Cheese number four. Well, I am a farmer and podcaster from the Essex coast, from near Clacton-on-Sea, Frinton-on-Sea, Clacton-on-Sea, and sort of I have a problem in that I like to do lots of different things. So I spend my life doing lots of different things. And like I say, 2 years ago, did the Cheese a Day Challenge with you. And I have no idea actually how pleased I am that we're doing this again.
You and me both. Now, Ben, you're a farmer, but you're not a dairy farmer. What do you produce on your farm?
No, we actually weirdly we used to be a dairy farm. So when I was growing up, I grew up on a dairy farm. But now we're mostly an arable farm, and we also grow a bizarre little-known crop called sea buckthorn.
Now, tell us a bit more about sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn is the kind of the superfood that not many people have heard of. Is that right?
Absolutely. So it's a bright orange berry. It's got a silvery green leaf. It's a shrub. We harvest it for the berry. Plants live for about 20, 30 years. But it's this real health benefit potential that it's known for throughout Europe, Russia. The Chinese grow more sea buckthorn than we grow of wheat here. But it is very, very, very little known. But it is, it has an amazing, unique flavour. It's sort of citrus, but sort of not. But it works really well. I tell you what, I'm going to try some sea buckthorn pairings with cheese as we go through, actually, to see how they go. But it works. Yeah, it works really well with other fruits. It works well with fish. It works well with lots of things.
So how do you consume it? Is it a jam? Do you have it as a sauce? How do you eat it?
You can make it into jam. It makes a brilliant sorbet, and it works particularly well with chocolate. We've just sold some to a lady who is actually entering the World Marmalade Awards, so I'm hoping it makes a good marmalade. It's really versatile. You can do loads of stuff with it.
Have you spoken to Johnny Crickmore, who of course I did a tasting with yesterday, because he uses different fruit flavourings to go with his skyr yogurt?
I haven't. No.
I
have spoken to Johnny, but not about that.
Well, here we are. You heard it here first, folks. and excuse my complete ignorance here. It's sea buckthorn. It's obviously not grown in the sea. Can it only be grown near the sea, or can I grow it 50 miles inland on heavy clay?
It grows in the Himalayas, which is part of why it's so its nutraceutical content is so high, is that it will grow in extreme environments and it'll adapt to pretty much any environment. You can grow it in the fens, Tom.
And even my mediocre geography, I mean, I know the Himalayas are not that close to the sea, so that's really helpful. Thank you. And Ben, a couple of other things about you. You are the chairman, the founder of the Meet the Farmers podcast. How long's that been going?
It's been going about, just over 4 years, but it's only been weekly since May of last year. And we're on to, what have I just done? Episode 105 will be, it's just come out. But it's and the whole point about it is really to highlight all sorts of farms, big, small, all farming voices, and also people connected to farming in any way as well. Got increasingly lots of other people with lots of other voices. But it's great fun. It's been great with lockdown in that I've been doing most of the interviews over Zoom, so it means you can go anywhere in the world really, really easily, obviously. But I do miss the visits. There's nothing yet, and I just love visiting farms and speaking to farmers. There's nothing like speaking to a farmer on their own farm, because they're literally at home and at work, and they just there's something about it that you can really capture the essence of where they are.
They're right there in their element. And well, thank you for everything you do to show people what happens to the other side of the farm gate. You and I are two men of one mind. Let's get into the cheese tasting. So
let's do the cheese. That's the important thing.
Have you got your cheese open, Ben?
I've got my cheese. I'm opening it now.
Give her the reveal.
Okay.
Let's start with the nose. What does that tell you, Ben?
Oh. Wow.
Oh.
Slightly. I'm going to go with yeasty. That's sort of.
I've got a bit. I mean, I don't know if this is too out there. I've got a bit of swimming pool changing room.
Yeah. I'll go with you on that one.
Let me tell you about this cheese. This is the Wigmore cheese.
Isn't it?
It's a semi-soft cheese produced in the village of Rinsley, apologies if that's pronounced wrong, in Berkshire by a company called Village Made Cheese, founded in 1986 by Anne Wigmore, hence the cheese's name. And it is unpasteurized ewe's milk cheese. So it's created using traditional methods for hand-washed curd cheese, and it's a vegetarian, natural bloomy rind. Now, bloomy could also mean swimming pool changing room.
I think that's definitely bloomy.
I think that's industry speak for swimming pool changing room. Anyway, should we get into this? Do we just straight down?
I think so. Yeah, let's go for it. I haven't had this cheese in a while.
Oh, yeah. Well, you are a step ahead. I've never had this before. It's very pleasant in the mouth, isn't it? It's
quite mild.
And then the flavour builds a little bit, doesn't it?
Creamy, slightly sweet.
Yeah, it is. There's definitely a sweetness to it, isn't it? And that's really nice. I've got if I'm going to my crib sheet here, it says a cheese of refinement, which is obviously why I picked you. I paired it with you, Ben. A cheese of refinement and maturity with hints of burnt caramel, flowers, and nuts. No, I'm not good enough at tasting. Although nut, actually, yeah, there is a little nuttiness.
No, I could get the nuttiness, yeah. And I'd probably put it with a Merlot or something like that.
I'm with you on that one. I've got to say, I don't eat flowers very often, so I'm not. I'm not quite sure, but it's definitely got a kind of really nice nutty flavour. It's I try not to describe too many cheeses as session cheeses, i.e., I could just sit here and eat the entire thing, but I definitely think I could do that. And I think it would take a kind of fruity accompaniment as well. What say you, Ben? What would you pair with it?
Peach or grapes, obviously. Yeah, fruit and general. I think this is a good fruity pairing.
Ben, you are the real deal. When I look again at my crib sheet, it's ideal coupled with pear segments and well complemented by a Cabernet Merlot.
Seriously? Well, there we are then.
Absolutely. So Ben, people want to join you for the Cheese a Day Challenge. What are your social media handles, and how can they find you?
So on Twitter or Instagram, I am at Benji_Eagle. Benji is BENJY. Or you can follow Meet the Farmers podcast at MTF_podcast.
Fantastic. And you'll be tasting cheeses with us throughout the month of February.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like I say, I'm so pleased this is happening again.
But well, Ben,
it's a pleasure to join you, Tom, as well as always.
And I'm sorry we're not by the finishing post at Newmarket Racecourse, where we were at some conference that I've forgotten about. The only thing I remember about the conference was meeting you.
It was the Century Conference.
I'll post the link to that because that was great fun. But yeah, well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us. And to the rest of you who are doing your tastings, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this Wigmore cheese as much as we did. You heard it from Ben there. It definitely wants to go with something a kind of light fruitiness, the pear segments, and we're definitely endorsing the recommendation of a Merlot, albeit a Thursday lunchtime. We could do that, can't we? The sun's over the yard arm, so we're going to go with a Merlot as well. So, well, Ben, thank you very much. Good luck for the rest of the Cheese a Day Challenge, and we'll follow you with interest.
Great. Cheers, Tom.
Thanks, buddy.